The solstice was never the end. It was the breach. And now something vast has begun to spill through. On June 21st, 2025, in the soft afterglow of the solstice, two celestial giants meet in Cancer. The Sun, the beacon of consciousness, and Jupiter, the amplifier of all things seen and unseen. And when they touch in the most emotional sign of the zodiac, the result is not just light, it is revelation, overexposure, overflow. The sky, once still, begins to stir. The solar threshold has not closed, it has expanded. What was a crack is now a channel. What was a whisper is now a flood. This isn't just another planetary alignment. This is a cosmic consequence. The light that was called forth yesterday now has momentum, and Jupiter, in its infinite hunger to magnify, sends it rippling into places long sealed by shadow. This is the moment everything gets louder. Emotions, intuitions, memories, regrets, even dreams speak in full sentences now. You may feel it like pressure in the chest, a sudden longing with no clear origin, or an old ache that seems to return not as pain, but as presence. Because when the Sun meets Jupiter in Cancer, it doesn't just touch your external world. It reconfigures your inner field. It pulls on the tides of your emotional body and says, "What are you ready to feel now?" And the floodgate breaks, not as punishment, but as prophecy. This is what happens when the heart of the sky enters a house made of water. When expansion doesn't look like clarity, it looks like waves. And you, standing at the edge of that wave, are being asked a question your soul has waited lifetimes to hear. Will you let it all in? Not just the light, but the echoes, the memories, the truths that were buried inside moments you chose to forget. Because this conjunction isn't a spotlight, it's a psychic amplifier. It takes what you've whispered to yourself in the dark and echoes it across your entire emotional field. It magnifies the softest parts of you, the sacred tenderness you've hidden beneath logic, the tears you swallowed for the sake of appearing strong, and so you may feel overwhelmed, not by chaos, but by clarity so full-bodied it threatens to undo your silence. This is not the time for polished explanations. This is the time for sacred unraveling. Because Cancer doesn't hold space for performance, it holds space for returning, to the self that knew how to cry, to the inner voice that never lied, to the emotional truths you buried beneath endurance. The Sun, now radiant in Cancer's temple, carries a map made not of roads, but of rivers. And Jupiter, the alchemist, pours light into every unseen corner, even the ones you closed off intentionally. This is not an invasion, it's an invitation. So if you feel as though your dreams are speaking louder, your memories more vivid, your emotions raw and unfiltered, good. You are aligned. Because this flood was not meant to destroy you, it was meant to awaken you. And as the solar echo rolls through your chest, amplifying the very feeling you tried to manage quietly, you are being asked again. Will you finally let yourself feel it all? Because the floodgate has broken, and what comes now is holy. Stay open, stay soft. The wave is not here to drown you. It is here to baptize what has long been asleep, and it remembers your name. The wave is not here to drown you. It is here to baptize what has long been asleep. And now, we understand why. Because this flood has form. This flood has math. This flood has meaning. On June 21st, 2025, the Sun, your conscious self, your radiant identity, conjoins Jupiter, the cosmic expander, the magnifier of truths, the sacred mirror. And they do so in Cancer, the zodiac's lunar archive, its emotional well, its keeper of memory and mother of tides. This is not just astrology, this is soul cartography. Imagine two great fires, not colliding, but merging in a house made of water. What burns is not the house. It's the veil, the illusion, the control we try to hold over what is meant to flow. Cancer is ruled by the moon. It's nocturnal, internal, sacredly irrational. It doesn't think in language, it remembers in feeling. And when Jupiter, the amplifier, meets the Sun here, it doesn't just turn on the light. It echoes it through every room of your emotional body, every corridor of your personal history, every chamber of inherited memory. This is why it feels like things are getting louder, why your sleep is interrupted, why you can't stop thinking about people from your past, why old sensations rise without context, because this isn't just expansion of consciousness, it's expansion of emotional resonance. You are not just feeling your own heart, you are suddenly aware of the entire architecture it was built inside. Let's look at the mechanics. Sun is illumination, ego, truth. Jupiter is expansion, divine timing, spiritual growth. Cancer is emotion, safety, memory, the origin point. So when the Sun and Jupiter align in Cancer, the entire sky becomes an amplifier of what's hidden. It's not about clarity yet, it's about intensity, depth, saturation. You are not meant to analyze what you're feeling, you're meant to notice how it expands. Jupiter doesn't bring meaning, it brings the opportunity to make meaning from what arises. And this is happening in the sign that governs the fourth house, your root system, your foundation, your first wound, your inherited instincts, the place where your emotional GPS was set long before you could speak. So if things feel profoundly intimate, overwhelming, tender, and non-linear, welcome. You are inside the mechanism. You are being shown where your emotional responses came from, where your defense mechanisms were born, where you learned to withhold, where you first experienced love as risk. And all of this is now bathed in solar light and echoed through Jupiter's divine horn. This is not gentle astrology. This is seismic. Not in the outer world, but in the internal body, the psyche, the spirit. You might feel like you're vibrating with invisible electricity, like you're grieving and grateful at the same time, like you're being reminded of something important but can't quite name it. That's because Jupiter doesn't deliver answers. Jupiter delivers volume. It amplifies your emotional tone until you can no longer ignore it. It points out the truth not with facts, but with frequency. And the Sun? The Sun provides the clarity to see it, not with the mind, but with the heart. This is why, under this transit, even the simplest things carry weight. A song hits you like a past life. A conversation cracks open your chest. The wind smells like someone you used to love. Because in Cancer, time is not linear. It's emotional. It folds. It loops. It returns. And now, your solar self and your spiritual teacher are sitting together at the table of memory. The question is, will you sit with them? Because what they're offering isn't a lesson. It's a remembering. And every tear you release now isn't just yours. It belongs to the entire lineage that brought you here. Jupiter has entered the heart. The Sun is casting its light inward. And Cancer, keeper of the threshold, has opened its gates. The mechanics are in motion, and the wave is still rising. The mechanics are in motion, and the wave is still rising. So now comes the test, not of strength, but of presence. Not of what you can withstand, but of what you can feel. When the Sun and Jupiter meet in Cancer, they don't knock on the door of your logic. They knock on your nervous system. They ask, can you sit inside your own emotional reverb? This conjunction doesn't want your intellect, it wants your receptivity. It wants you to hear what has gone unheard, to see what has lived in shadow, to feel what has always been just beneath your skin. And that is the spiritual trial of this moment, because what's rising now is everything you filed away under later. All the unsaid goodbyes, the unresolved heartbreaks, the identities you wore to survive. You might feel it in your breath, shallow, in your chest, tight, in your sleep, fragmented, in your dreams, intense, symbolic, dripping with archetypes and echoes. You are not broken. You are being shown where your soul has gone numb. This is why you may feel raw, restless, strangely emotional without context. This is why people you haven't thought of in years appear in your mind as if summoned. Why music suddenly feels like it's reading your diary. Why silence no longer feels empty, but full of things unsaid. The emotional body is not malfunctioning. It's remembering. And with Jupiter present, it's not remembering quietly. It's remembering in high definition. Every feeling is stretched to its widest point. Every memory reverberates like thunder. This is the echo of the soul returning to places it once abandoned. This is you meeting your unmet parts. And yes, it can feel like too much, but the truth is, it's just more than you're used to allowing. There is a spiritual intelligence behind this wave. It's not chaos, it's correction. The Cancerian energy asks, can you feel it without explaining it away? Jupiter asks, can you trust that this overwhelm has divine purpose? The Sun asks, will you let this clarity light your darkest room? This isn't the time to fix or analyze. It's the time to witness, to stand in the flood and say, I see you. I feel you. I won't turn away. This is emotional karmic release, and like all sacred cleansing, it may first feel like falling apart. You may cry unexpectedly, laugh and sob within the same minute, revisit old versions of yourself and grieve them, feel called to reconnect or fully release certain people, want to isolate, then crave connection in the same breath. All of this is the language of a soul coming back online, not in pieces, but in truth. Because Jupiter doesn't just expand what's visible, it expands capacity. And this wave is expanding your capacity to love, to grieve, to remember, to feel without shutting down. If you can allow it, just allow, it will soften the very parts of you that harden to survive. And that softening, that's not weakness, that's the beginning of healing. You don't need to do anything with these emotions. You only need to make space for them. Your only job is to stay in the room, even if the room is flooding, because everything rising now is holy, and everything it touches, you included, is being rewritten in light. This is the spiritual storm, and you are not meant to escape it. You are meant to become it. You are meant to become the storm. But storms do not last forever. They rise, they break, they cleanse, and then they leave behind the clarity. So now, we shift from survival to surrender. Because if you've stayed in the room with your emotions, if you've allowed the psychic waves to roll through without closing the door, then you're already halfway home. But what now? How do you live with the new light pouring in through the cracks? How do you hold the emotional surge without losing yourself in the tide? You make space for the wave. And space does not mean emptiness. It means intention. Here's how. Begin each day with a breath ritual. 3 deep breaths. 1 to greet the memory rising. 1 to honor the part of you meeting it. And 1 to release what no longer belongs. Create a Cancerian altar, a glass of water, a family photo or object from childhood, a candle lit with the intention, I allow myself to feel. Sit before it for 5 minutes, not to ask questions, but to listen. Water ceremony for emotional overflow. When the heart is heavy, run water over your hands or stand in the shower. Say aloud, may what is not mine be washed away. May what is mine be revealed in peace. Moon journal. Keep a notebook by your bed. Write down any dreams, feelings, or synchronicities. Cancer speaks through subtle signs and symbols. Don't interpret, just record. Touch the earth. Walk barefoot if you can. Touch tree bark. Feel the wind on your skin. The emotional body heals faster when grounded through the physical. Avoid overstimulation. Turn off noise when possible. Let your nervous system recalibrate. And most importantly, don't rush clarity. The instinct may be to find answers, to fix the feelings, to translate the emotion into logic. But that is not this energy's demand. This energy wants you to witness, not manage. To feel, not decode. To receive, not perform. This is a divine feminine transit, regardless of gender. It teaches through fluidity, through intuition, through trust in the unseen. So when things feel disorganized, internally or externally, ask, what am I resisting? What emotion am I avoiding with thought? What would it feel like to let it move through without explanation? Don't fear the mess. Don't shame the sensitivity. They are both signs of contact. Contact with something vast, something intelligent, something holy, and it's not outside you. It's moving through you. You are not failing by feeling. You are fulfilling your soul contract by staying open when it would be easier to close. Remember, Cancer is the mother of the zodiac, and Jupiter is the teacher. When they merge, they teach you how to mother yourself, how to hold the parts that were never held, how to soften even when the world demands hardness. So meet yourself gently in this moment. Wrap your own arms around your chest. Breathe into the softest place you can find and say, I am allowed to feel this. I am safe to let this pass through. Let your rituals be simple. Let your heart be unguarded. Let your presence be enough, because when you show up for your own emotions without flinching, the universe shows up for you. That is the essence of this guidance. That is the medicine of this conjunction, and that is how you prepare to return to yourself. You've prepared to return to yourself, and now you stand in the aftermath of remembrance, not empty, not undone, but wide open. This is not collapse, it is completion. You've allowed the wave to move through. You've honored the silence. You've let the light expose your hidden chambers. And in that surrender, something shifted. The Sun-Jupiter conjunction in Cancer was not just a transit, it was a soul threshold, and you've crossed it. Now you are no longer carrying feelings like burdens. You're carrying them like truth. The emotional weight may still be present, but it no longer owns you. It teaches you. This is the sacred integration, when memory becomes medicine, when emotion becomes evolution, when the flood becomes a foundation. You've seen the blueprint, you've traced the echoes, you've remembered what it's like to be held by your own hands, and now you begin again. Not from scratch, but from depth. This isn't a reset, it's a re-seeing. You see yourself more clearly now, without the filters, without the armor, without the old narratives clinging to your spine. And even if you're not sure what comes next, you know one thing: you will meet it whole. Because wholeness was never about being unbroken. It was about being honest. It was about holding all of it, the tenderness, the memory, the ache, and saying, yes, this is me, and I am still here. So breathe into that. Let it settle into your bones. Let it ripple outward. Because this wave didn't come just to teach you. It came to align you with your truth, with your timing, with your tenderness. You are not behind. You are not late. You are arriving exactly when the sky said you would. And the sun, now infused with Jupiter's wisdom, has left something in your chest, a spark, a seed, a sentence. Feel everything, honor it, and keep going. So, let's anchor this moment together. Affirmation. I open to what was hidden. I feel what I once avoided. I remember without fear, and I rise with the light. Say it aloud. Write it where you can see it. Speak it into your water. Let it be the code you carry forward. And if this journey stirred something ancient in you, if the wave found you and you let it enter, then leave this in the comments. I open to what was hidden. Because when one soul speaks it aloud, the ripple begins again. This is not just your healing. It's a collective unsealing. And you, yes, you, are a part of that return. You've met the wave. You've made space for the truth. You've stepped through the flood. And now, you walk forward carrying something sacred. Yourself. Fully seen, fully feeling, and finally, fully free.